Good. Hello, welcome to Minds Alike Animal Training and Behaviour, and this is my video on teaching loose lead walking. So I teach loose lead walking with a couple of tricks to teach the dog where the loose lead position is, and we go on from that to help the dog understand where we want them to stay when we're actually walking. So the first thing I'm going to do is teach Ollie to touch my hand. So I'm just going to make sure if he bumps my back of my fingers with his nose, then he's going to get a reward for that. I am using a marker signal. I will be using a clicker for this, so it's nice and audible for you. If you want to use a yes or a good boy or good girl, that is absolutely fine, as long as it's short and concise and your dog understands that that is the signal that tells them they're going to get a reward. Okay, so first things first, to just make sure we understand that following hands is good. And the reason I start with this is because I don't want to have to hold food to train my dog to walk where I want him to be. I don't want to lure him unless I have to. And the reason for that is because I think it's quite frustrating. It's a bit like holding a piece of cake and then just walking away with it. And for many dogs it's demotivating. For some dogs it's too motivating and they end up jumping and biting your fingers and things like that. So I prefer to teach the hand target, which helps the dog orientate to where we want them to be as a signal, but the reward always comes soon afterwards. You'll see what I mean soon, hopefully. So, Ollie, good boy. So we're just going to start with our hand touch, and that just means, good boy, just holding my hand out, holding my fingers out. He comes along, good. Touches them with his nose, and he gets a reward. You don't have to say anything. If you want to say touch, you can, that's no problem. But really, the whole purpose is just, honey, that they want to find your hand and follow it. Now that can then follow on to a close command. So what that means is, with my dog sort of positioned beside me, I'm going to take a step away from him and I'm going to say close, and he is going to follow my hand. Boy, close, because he wants to touch my hand, as that's what we've just been training. Close, good boy. So that's our first little trick, which I may use to make sure that the dog understands following hands is good, keeping to the leg is good. Remember, they've done a lot of their training in front of us. We teach them to look at us in front of us. We teach them to sit and down in front of us. To suddenly ask them to start doing things beside us can be quite bizarre to our dogs. So this can really help with that. So that's our close command. Now the next thing I might teach is finish. So what that means is, with my dog standing in front of me, I'm not going to ask Ollie to sit because he's arthritic, but with my dog standing in front of me, I'm going to use my hand, draw a U shape, and then he comes round to touch my hand with his nose. As you can see, he very naturally wants to follow my hand. Now I'll just show you that side on. Good boy. So U shape. Oh, we're going to do a double spin, Ollie. Dearie me. Good boy. Very nice. So that is the finished position, and that's just a way of, if your dog's up in front, we can use our hand to easily draw them back to our side without pulling them and tugging them. So that is sort of the first couple of tricks I might teach in order to get my dog thinking about working beside me and thinking about being by my leg is a really cool place to be. Now I'll just talk a little bit about holding the lead. Ollie, come. This really is personal preference. Of course, traditionally, in obedience, we would walk our dogs on the left, but that is just tradition. If you're not worrying about competing, you really don't have to think about that at all. So think about what's comfortable for you. Now I'm right-handed, so I prefer to hold the lead on my right. I also prefer to hold the lead so it goes across my body, and the reason for that is if I was out on the road and Ollie was to suddenly see something and want to pull out onto the road, all I have to do is this, and I have him close to me. Now if I had him in the hand nearest him, if he suddenly went out into the road, I probably would lose control very quickly, and my only way of gaining control would be to lift my arm up, which as you can see would not give me enough control. So I prefer the lead to be going across my body. So what I would advise you do is you make sure you're organised first of all. I'm going to make sure I've got some treats ready to go in my right hand. My clicker is in my right hand and the lead is on my right wrist, and that means I've got my left hand free. Now if you want to walk your dog the other way round, that's absolutely fine. But the important thing is the lead is going across your body. So what I can do now is I can ask him to walk with me, and I'm going to click and treat for him being by my side. Now if he were to pull, then I'll stop and I'll use my hand signal to bring him back to where I want him to be. And that's how I would start teaching my puppy to walk nice and loosely on the lead. Thank you very much.